What is up, YouTube? It is me, Tom from the Epic Collective, and today I'm bringing you another Starcraft 2 replay. This one is from the Asus Republic of Gamers tournament that just happened recently, and it is TSLPolt versus now EG Stephano. It is game 2, and let's go ahead and get straight into it. Now, I have not seen this replay before, so everything is going to be very new for me, and I will be genuinely surprised, and you know that my predictions are in fact genuine. I will be trying to, how do I say this, not do too badly. This is really just a trial for me to see how it's going. There's a good luck from Stephano, also saying have fun and addressing Polt as friend. But that's not really something I see that often, especially not way down low in the silver leagues. Most of the time, it's just good luck, have fun, followed by a 6-pool, or cannon rush, or proxy barracks of some sort. Nothing fun at all. Now, Stephano does drone scout, which is something that I do somewhat often, but not really on this map because I feel it's long enough where I won't get affected by cheese, and that where my overlords will be able to get there. But of course, it's all personal preference, and it depends on what Stephano thinks of his build and what he should do. And Zerg is the reactionary race for the most part, although they can be proactive, and I certainly know that, being Zerg myself. But again, personal preference. Now, something that Stephano does really well is, and something that he's definitely known for, is denying the fourth base while taking his own fourth base using infestors and roaches, while teching up to higher tiered units. And that's something that I think that every Zerg player should have in their arsenal, at least for now, until Heart of the Swarm comes out. At which point, who knows? I'm certainly not going to offer any predictions. But on what I have seen on streams and on replays, ZVZ looks so tedious. It's just taking up the swarm hosts and then having essentially a very long, very grinding war. Now, if we do go to the units tab, it is 16 drones to the 14, but Polt does have a mule, and so that certainly equals it up, and the 1 marine. So, now if we go to the units lost tab, I believe, yes, Polt did lose 1 drone, and although it's not the biggest deal in the world, it certainly does come into play later on in the game. Now, there was the bunker that was being built here, which I actually failed to see, but it should be taken care of very quickly. And this is a rather long game, as you can see by the counter over here. But that's not really something that you need to worry about. So this bunker is not going to work extremely well. Especially now that Zerglings are out. And so it won't be finished. And the drone's going to go around for the surround, taking out the 1st and 2nd Marine. And only losing 3 drones. And no, 2 drones and a Zergling, I believe it was. Now, in any case, if we go to the production tab, Polt is getting ready to expand at the proper time. And Stephano has just started his metabolic boost, as well as an overlord, but that's nothing remarkable at all. His drone count is rather good. It is at 24, and he has only 1 gas taken. But he has continued to collect gas, so he might be going for layer tech, he might be going for roaches. He started to bank money, so, but he is also supply blocked. Oh, there, he just spent it on something, and it is, yeah, it is a roach warren. When it is, there it is. So it looks like he's going to go into roach play. It's probably to counter these Hellions that are coming in. He hasn't moved his queen down, which is something that I would have done at this point, especially with these Hellions coming down. But of course it is, again, personal preference, and just a matter of what you think you can safely do. Now, he is making 8 roaches, and is stopping the run-bys with the Hellion, with his Zerglings. But they are very low health, and I personally would just force my way up there, which Polt is actually doing right now. I don't know why he retreated. I don't think he saw the roaches being made, but he probably knew something was coming. He's up to 6 Hellions now, and so I don't think he's going to be making any more, and he isn't, based on the production tab. He's actually starting with a starport, so he could be looking at some Banshee harassment. And Stephano was trying to get us around with those Zerglings, it just didn't work out. And Metabolic Boost just finished. Polt is working on Stim, so we can expect to see, potentially, some Barracks play. But I do believe that Stim is simply standard across the board, no matter if you go mech. Of course, we might also see it used for drops, while still going mech. And it looks like Stephano's about to lose his queen, and he does in fact lose his queen, and that's always something that you try to avoid. He has not started another, although he does have minerals for them. Of course, there is disc going down at the other end, and it will be taken care of because Marauders just do so well against roaches. And so, other than the SCV's loss, it's not that big of a deal. Because the command center, it's still here. And it's just gonna plonk itself back down. And now at the same time, the Hellions have been taken care of. Another queen has not yet been made. But, again, he could be... He did just start upgrading. He's got Carapace making, so I honestly think that he thinks that mech is going to come. But I'm not too sure that it will. Because based on this, I'm seeing... Yeah, I'm seeing... Quite honestly, I'm seeing some bio play. Especially with the medevacs being made. And another command center. Meaning that he's going to take his third. Stephano has already taken his third. He's not quite saturated it yet, but he's getting there. Slightly over perfect drone counts. You're supposed... A little bit bothers me. Just a little bit. 16 here. 17. So if he does end up making... or taking his gases, which he should, and I expect he will. Oh, a little bit of an engagement down here. Then it will all work out in the end, but still. Small details do in fact matter. Especially when you need every Zergling. Every roach. To potentially stop all-ins. Now, it does look like Polt is going to come down and try and pressure the third. And Armor Carapace will just start finishing up, and that'll be an upgrade advantage for Stephano, which will always help him. Because who doesn't want an advantage over their opponent? Now, he does have Stim, though, and that could certainly come into play. He does Stim now, which I think was a little bit too early. And I do think that, yep, with the pickup. Now, the third is almost... Third, yep, just finished being made into an orbital command. 2 mules down there. None up here. If we look at the income tab, they are very equal. But Stephano's, I expect, will go up very soon because he's about to take a fourth. And he's actually doing a little bit of Zergling pressure. Just seeing if he's taking a third. And Polt's just saying, nope, you can't go out there. But at the same time, Stephano is moving out with the second body of Zerglings. And he might try and get us around on some of these units. But I don't think he knows that these Marines are here. And so these Zerglings are just gone. Except for the 3 of them that survive. Now, Stephano's 4th is going down at this point, and he does have an Overlord ready to scout. But I do not know... Yeah, Stephano does not know if he has a 3rd command center down. But he... which is going out there right now. But he does think that it's going to be coming eventually. He knows that. And it is a huge body of Zerglings for Stephano, along with Carapace level 2, Melee level 2, and an Infestation Pit. So, as you can see, Stephano is following what he knows. Oh, I'm sorry about that. So, Stephano is sticking with what he knows. He's going to try and delay this 3rd base. Not let it go up. Or at the very least, stop it from doing anything. He does have these Zerglings here, and he's transferring drones here, as well as another body of Zerglings. And there is a bit of an engagement here, but he has to pull back because of the siege tank line, protected by additional Marines. Now, Polt has just started his upgrades. He has 1 upgrade for attack, and is working on a 2nd, and has 1 armor upgrade. He is continuing to mech, and he's starting to spread his siege tanks out. Or at the very least, hasn't moved them from their rally point. Now, these Zerglings are here and here, and he's starting to build up what looks like a small bank of gas, or at least he's not spending it. But I expect it's for additional infestors. But he just started to make 2 more, and he's also getting Burrow. And I believe about to start his next round of upgrades, as soon as his hive finishes morphing in. Now, we are looking at 144 Zerglings. That's a lot of Zerglings, but he has only 2 infestors, although he does have 2 more on the way. Did one of them cancel? He must have canceled one, because I could have sworn I saw 5 being made. He is grouping together his Zerglings and his 2 infestors. And he's 4 infestors at this point. They must have finished making. And I don't know what he's going to do. I expect that he's going to try and free up some supplies soon. But I'm not sure. Oh, he's splitting them up once again. And we'll just follow these up here. Destroying the rocks. Just making sure a 4th has not been taken. Staying 1 base up. And it does look like a drop is going down into Stephano's main, but he has seen it at this point. And you can see his Zerglings are flying up. While at the same time, Polt is moving down here, and he's trying to get rid of any opposition. So I do think that that worked out quite well for him. Only losing, what looks like 6 at most. Of course, he did end up losing everything because of the fungals. And he is losing more there, but again, he needs to free up some supply for those higher tier units eventually. And he is starting to build up quite a large bank. So you can see his Zerglings splitting up, getting ready for a surround, essentially. And back to the production tab. It looks like Stephano's going to Ultralisk. I hadn't seen that before. And he's 30 supply down, but he's making 5 Ultralisks. And if he can continue to chain fungal Marines, he's going to be in quite good shape. Now, of course, there are Marauders in production for Polt. Oh, but that's a nice burr of Lings. I had not seen those. So he knows exactly what's coming from his opponent. And that's not something that he'll be able to see. He is continuing to stay updated on that 4th. But I do not believe that he knows that this is here. He does not. And there's another engagement going on. The Ultralisk getting in very low health. In fact, 2 of them dying. All of them dying, except for 1. Oh, no, all of them do, in fact, die. And Stephano has only 3 Ultralisks and 2 Infestors on the field, as well as 40 Lings. And he's actually even in supply. But these tanks are going to be huge if it comes to any engagements with those 20 Lings. Now Stephano is continuing to try and push up, but now again, he is very low on any high tier units. He has 40 Lings and 4 Infestors, and has 5 Ultralisks just now finishing up. But again, Polt is taking in reinforcements, and he's doing remarkably well. See, that's not necessarily something that I would have done with that Infestor energy. That Infestor just getting into the scan range. The drones being saved. 44 Lings in production for Stephano. 75 Lings, 4 Ultralisks, excuse me. 5 Infestors. But this 4th base is going to fall. But the would-be 5th and would-be 6th bases, but now 4th and 5th bases, are already up. Or at least one of them is. And so it's not a huge loss. Stephano can certainly manage it. But nevertheless, every bit counts. And these drones are not pulling their own weight. They're having to long-distance mine. And that is quite a ways. Now, Stephano is burrowing. Oh, he decides against it. Probably a pathing issue. He is deciding to destroy the rocks in the center. I'm not quite so sure about this, considering that he, is... Well, just freeing up another attack path. But I suppose he does want to be able to reinforce this army. Anything going to this space? And another drop going down. Well, Marauders and Marines. But they're picked right back up, and I expect for them to head over here. It was just to draw the army away. And so, now he's going to get a few cheap shots at any Zerglings that are unlucky enough to be there. But, quickly enough, and he does stop this gas from being harvested for at least 30 seconds, and so that's 100 gas. Third of an Ultralist. And so it does count, but not nearly as much as it's the cost of potentially all those Marines. And in fact, was the cost of all those Marines. It just, in my opinion, was not worth it. Now, the 4th and 5th bases, well, technically just a 4th. There is a burrowed Ling there. Yep, there is in fact one. Now, Stephano does have 6 Ultralisks on the field, and it is against quite a few siege tanks and quite a few marauders. Yeah, definitely quite a few siege tanks. Now the question will come into how are the armies engaging? Is it in a choke? Is it in somewhere open? Are your armies split up? Was a drop going on at that time? Now it does look like this base very well might fall, but I think it's more of a trap to lure Stephano into this killing ground, essentially. Now, it looks like a few of those infestors are going down. Going to the unit slots tab, Stephano has not traded very efficiently at all. 10,000 more resources more than his opponent lost, and that's just not what you want to do. That is not how you should be training. Now, if we go back to the production tab, Stephano's making 6 more infestors, but is down 50 supply from his opponent, who is just stretched all the way across the map, and is getting rid of Stephano's bases, and just really constraining him in this very grinding match, and a great example of a TBC, if I might say so. Now, I just don't think Stephano can handle this. I mean, with those Marines and siege tanks just pushing up. And a 60 supply advantage. Stephano's making 2 Ultralisks, but it's just not enough, especially with the siege tanks and marauders. I mean, and more is being made for Polt the Terran than for Stephano, and that's just not how things should work out. He does have complete armor, weapon upgrades for his tanks, and it's 3-3 for his marines, so he's just going to completely rip through any units. I mean, this Ultralist is just dying so quickly. Of course, nice fungals do go down, but it's just not enough. And I think that we're going to see the GG very, very soon. Because, I mean, he's down to really 2 mining bases. And, I mean, he had a full page of drones here, and that's way more saturation than he should have. That's because, again, his other mining bases were taken out. And there is the congrats from Stephano. And he has lost the game. Now, a few things that I would like to point out were that Stephano just did not manage to delay this 3rd base. He did not delay it at all. And that is something that is absolutely vital for, I think, Stephano's style of play. Because if he had delayed that 3rd, then so much more could have happened. He could have made his units last longer because they would have less to go up against. And in all honesty, had he actually done that, I think we would have been looking at a completely different game. Unfortunately, he did not time it properly, and the 3rd was established and the siege tanks pushed out before he could get over there in enough force to delay it. And that is always unfortunate for any Zerg player. I wish you luck in your gaming, and I will see you next time.